There we go. I will then hand over to you and get started, Rachel, if that's okay.
Yes. So welcome, and it's a real pleasure to be here. I'm going to just ask one request, and it's if you're comfortable to do so, that it's quite lonely here when I don't see faces. So if and it's okay if you pop in and out, but if anybody wants to reveal themselves and open their video, then it would be lovely to see some faces. And I'll just see if anybody wants to come so that I can see more of you in person. Okay, excellent. So I had my 5-year-old who wanted food, he was hungry, and it just gave me that perfect reminder of how we very easily get stressed. So my scenario is 8:15, although Tam, I don't know if it was 8, that was already a stress. Was it 8? Was it 8:15? I'm meant to be here for you. And my little boy is up. So I use my tools and the tools that I'm here to share with you. And so the first thing I would say, the instruction that I gave to myself was to drop the pressure. Because stress, and if we think of the word stress, what happens when we put stress on something? It's tension, it's pressure. And so I invited myself to drop the pressure. And I quickly mailed Tam and I said, can we start at 8:30? So often stress comes when something's out of our control, right? Does that sound familiar? And I've got some good news for all of you. Do you want to hear my good news about stress? So you might not have considered it, but stress and anxiety and feeling overwhelmed is man-made. And you might not have thought of that before. We don't see a tree out in the park stressed. We don't see nature stressed. Nature can be, there's intensity in nature, if you think about a storm, but it's not stress. This thing that we experience and that damages us, drains us, gets us in cranky moods, gets us shouting at our kids, gets us going around in circles and feeling shitty. It's something that we produce. So if you just take a breath with me and consider that for a moment. And Tam, I'll keep an eye on the chat as much as I can, but if there's any questions, if we can just look at them at the end. So what my intention is here tonight, and I'm very much on your page because I am a single parent. I'm on my 3rd iteration of business, and I remember back before I became a single parent, meeting a business owner and her telling me it was like one of the hardest things she's ever done, run a business and be a single parent. So that's always in the background. So I do get this place that we're in. The reason I felt really called to come and connect with you is because the main reason that I've managed to sit here and get myself out of the gutter, literally, to feeling in a really, really good place is the tools that I've got as a practitioner. And so tonight, my main aim is if I can give you like one step that you can take, like if you can get one step closer to gaining control of stress. And do you hear what I say? That you can gain control, that often it feels like it's something controlling us, right? Is that about right? It feels like it's something happening to us when we're stressed and overwhelmed and we can't see the way out and everything is going downhill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you a couple of practical exercises, because the key to the door of you not being available for stress and gaining control of stress is going to be us paying attention to our body. Okay, are we all open to that? Yeah. And I'll go on to that in a little moment. One huge thing that's helped me recently, and I'm going to start with it, it's less practical, but it's more, if I say more quantum, it's more in the quantum. So if you don't really understand the quantum, or you might think it's a bit woo-woo, you know, just take what on board, what sits with you, what fits with you, and let the rest go. But I want to bring this in case I forget, because it is really changing my life at the minute. So the place that I know, I've known for a long time, and I'm sure you know, it's a place that's really easy to go to. And that is a place that as human beings, we're so good at living in the lack place. Yeah, so give me a little yes in the comments, in the chat, if you know the place of lack. Like not having enough money, don't have the job that I want, still a single person, you want a partner, the lack, right? We focus on the things that we don't have. Maybe we've got a health issue, and our focus and our fixation goes to the lack of what is missing in our life. And guess what? And this is where I'm just going to bring in a bit of quantum chat to you, and just allow it maybe to just have it as a consideration if you've never heard it before. So if you think about, and this is the quantum, that we are energy, we're made of energy, the same as the universe, everything around us is energy at a quantum level. And quantum is science, so I'm talking science here. It's been proven that we're energy. So our thoughts are energy, and the thoughts that we put out, we already know. Like if you enter a room with someone in a really bad mood, you feel it, right? You feel if someone's angry, and we can feel if someone's really full of joy, because we get kind of drawn to them. So it's the same with our thoughts, and our thoughts also affect our mood, right? Our thoughts affect our emotion. So when we stay in that place of lack, like the doom and the gloom, and with it often comes feeling hopeless, and it comes with feeling helpless, that we all know it. I know it. I'm just learning to now be in a different place, which I'm going to come on to. Now, it is like training a muscle, and I'm just planting the seed for you. And if you just, you know, are able to take what I say and it can change something, just even minutely, I'm going to be happy. So once I'll give it in the way that I talk to myself, because we do need our willpower here. And it becomes the conversation with yourself that I am not available for this. And, you know, I've had this conversation in my head in terms of my boundaries with my ex, for example. I am not available for this. That is your boundary. And some of those boundaries we need to have with ourselves if we want our life to go on the up rather than on the down. Okay. And stress will always take us on the down. Physically, you know it. So once we start to gain control that we're not available to live in the lack, then let me give you another couple of options. So what I've been practicing and having fun with is, rather than take myself into the lack, like, of course we all want more, but often we go to the place of where it's missing. So instead of that, we come to a place of gratitude is the first thing, like the appreciation of the littlest things we've got, the appreciation of if we've got our health, the appreciation of the home that we've got, the appreciation of our beautiful child or children. And we can all find little things to be grateful for, that we're alive. And then the other thing we add, which is powerful, and I want you to try it on, is then we focus on the excitement of what is it you're desiring? Because get me here, you can't be in lack and in excitement, right? And remember what I said, that we're energy, our thoughts are energy. So guess what you're going to get if every day you're focused on what you don't have? More of what you don't have. Okay? And it doesn't mean that life doesn't have challenges, really. And I can give you an example right now from this seat that I'm sat in, just to share with you. So I have been separated for 18 months. I've been a single mum for 18 months, and I've been in a new relationship. And in that new relationship, there's a few challenges. And so I'm practicing it this week. I've got a choice where the stress can come, because remember I said the stress comes when it feels like there's something that is out of our control. So I've had a conversation with this person in my life and what I need, and what I need. And then there's a gap. There's a gap of, is this thing going to happen, or is this person going to meet what you need? And in that gap, we've got a choice to either go into the stress of trying to control, or we come back to what I said. Okay, so I focus back with me. I focus on all the things I appreciate, my beautiful 5-year-old son, this business that I'm growing. It's not perfect, but it's growing. And I come back to the excitement, and I come back to, how do I want to feel? Like, how do I want to feel? Now, I've started with quite a profound subject, but just let me check the chat box just to see if anyone's got any questions. How does it sound for something that you could try? What are we saying? Yes or no? While I just take a moment, because I've kind of given you a download, does anybody, because I'm really open to interaction with you, does anybody want to ask me a question? Does anyone want to come and kind of communicate how it sits with you? If you've got any aha moments with what I'm saying? Is anyone brave enough to come and just have a chat with me?
Oh, hi there.
Hi, is that Mona?
Yes, it is. Hello. I'm actually tidying up my kitchen as I'm listening. I'm always having to multitask. And it's funny because when you said, take the pressure off, that really resonated with me. I think if I can try and do that sometimes, that would help out massively with my stress. So that really rung a bell, and it made me think, yes, I have to just say I can't do this at the moment. So thank you. I think that's going to be something that I'll have to just have as my little motto.
Great, good. I'm pleased that helped, Mona.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if anybody else, I'll just give it a minute if anybody wants to jump in and share anything with us in the group.
There's a couple of really nice comments in the chat box, Rachel. Someone said, so Erica said, yes, is it like asking the universe? I do this and it definitely works. I use it for parking. I'm assuming that means like either parking spaces or parking fines. Someone else said, I totally agree with you. Practicing gratitude thoughts each day has really helped me.
Amazing. Amazing. Great. So are you open to take a step with me now to get curious about, you're here, you've been drawn to this subject of stress and anxiety, or stress and overwhelm, right? And this collective that I'm with right now, including myself, what we've all got in common is our lives are intense. Yeah. So part of the journey that we're on when we're not available for stress is that we're learning how to relax with intensity, which is similar to what Mona's just shared, that it means being lighter with ourselves. It means being softer with ourselves and taking off the pressure. Let me do a little training with you. Ideally, if you've got a chair to sit on, would be the best. Now, this is going to be for any brave person. Does anyone want to come in the hot seat and be my demo? You'll gain quite a lot if you do. By giving, you receive. It's always a good one to remember. Does anyone want to give an example to me, and I'll coach you. You get some coaching from me if anyone is open. TB, is there a hand up?
Hi, yeah, sure, yeah, I'll volunteer.
Okay, amazing. Now, because my expertise is working with the body TB, are you open to put your camera on so I can see?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I was doing my Pilates while it was on in the background.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is, as a demo, is show you how in us learning to gain control of stress and anxiety, the thought pattern might start, and then I'm going to take you a step where you're going to learn to stop the stress, because remember what I said, it's not that stress is happening to us, we're producing the stress, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do the demo. Sorry, what's your first name?
Tony, sorry, Tony.
I'm going to do a demo with Tony so you can all watch, and then I'll take us all through it together. Okay, so Tony, are you okay? What's the thing that gets you feeling stressed and anxious? Can you share with me in the group?
So the one that springs to mind straight away is on a Wednesday night after work, collect the kids from childcare, get home, do the homework for school, get everybody fed, and then we have football training as well. So it's Wednesday between kind of 5 and 6:30 in the evening can be, there's a lot on, there's a lot to happen, and if someone doesn't want to eat their dinner or do the homework, and then I have 2 kids, so the younger child doesn't have school, so he doesn't have to do homework, so he can be a distraction for the kid doing homework while I'm trying to cook dinner and decompress after work as well. So just say there's an hour where you're just thinking, sometimes you're like, I just want everything to go okay, and I can feel it build up sometimes, and it can be a lot.
Okay. And just tell me, is there any physical symptoms that you get from, or in the moment, is there anything happening, feeling anxious, or any physical symptoms that are connected with it?
Yeah, you'd feel it there, kind of anywhere from your core up to your chest.
Okay.
Just worry that everything's going to be okay.
Take this example. Okay, so are you sitting on the floor?
Yep, yeah, I can get a chair if you need one.
Grab a chair, because it'll be better if you can, if it's convenient. That'd be great. Okay, so I'm going to do a little demo with Tony, and then we'll do it all together, and I'll get you to do your own stress situation. Okay, so if you close your eyes, and you can just be with me while I'm taking him through. Okay, so pay attention, because actually close your eyes and think about that Wednesday night that you just described. So close your eyes. And you were describing picking up the kids from childcare, and then tell me again how it goes after that.
Yeah, try and ask everybody how their day's been, get home, get the dinner on, get the homework started, get the football gear ready, try and occupy the 5-year-old while the 7-year-old does his homework. That's just, hopefully nothing goes crazy.
Okay, so close your eyes and just notice, because even describing the situation, do you notice the feeling of stress there?
Yeah, I can remember it from previous, Wednesdays.
Yeah, and if you close your eyes, pay attention to your body, because the key is that we learn what we're doing with our body. Is there anything in your body that's the most outstanding in terms of tension, like the way that you're holding your shoulders, or what happens to your breathing?
Yeah, you're probably not breathing as fast, and feel it here.
What do you feel in your chest now? Because you've just kind of brought up the trigger. What do you feel in your chest?
Just the tightness. You can feel the tightness inside you.
Okay. So what I'm going to get you to do is, just for a moment, that feeling of tightness in your chest, try and keep your eyes closed, pay attention to your chest and your shoulders. Can you do that a little bit more? Make it a little bit tighter in your chest. I'm going to get you to do it deliberately, because then you've got a better chance of stopping it if you know how you're doing it. It's not somebody coming tightening your chest, right? You're doing that in your chest, okay? So can you do it a little bit more? Tighten your chest, feel the breathing. How are you holding your shoulders?
Just probably, yeah.
And what do you notice you're doing with your fingers and your hands?
Fidgeting,
yeah. Okay, so pay attention to your chest, to your fingers, to how you're holding your shoulders. increase that feeling of tension a little bit more, just for a few more moments. The shoulders, the fidgeting in your fingers, feel how it's tight in your chest. Okay, and now let it go. So drop the effort and focus breathing, Tony, to your chest. So deep breaths, breathe into your chest, and try to let your hands and your arms go. So don't need to do anything with your hands. Exactly. Now breathe into your chest and breathe up to your head and relax your shoulders. So the stress comes when we're trying to control that something bad isn't happening. That's what you said. You were trying like that something doesn't go wrong, right? Yes. So breathe, 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 breathe. But the effort that we do, if you notice the effort that he did in his shoulders, how he's contracting his breathing, this isn't helping whether we're going to be late, or it just creates a lot of effort. So keep breathing to your chest, keep breathing to your shoulders, breathe up to your head. And the crazy thing as human beings as well is the state that we go in is not useful for the situation, because when we've got all of that to do, we need our thoughts, we need oxygen to our brain, we need our body to be relaxed. So we kind of go against what we need. Keep breathing to your chest, relax your chest and relax your shoulders. Excellent. And then breathe, keep your eyes closed. Think again of that Wednesday night. So nothing's changed. You've still got the full Wednesday night, but just notice, how does it feel how does it feel now without getting worried of something bad happening? How do you feel about the Wednesday?
I think when you take the time to breathe and slow down and catch your breath, and it just gives you a bit more time. You're not panic thinking the past is going to boil over and there's going to be a fight with the Lego.
Yeah, close your eyes because I've got one more question to ask you. Okay, so breathe and relax your legs and feel your legs and relax, breathe to your belly and relax your belly. And think about the Wednesday night again with everything that goes on. And is there something that you would like to change? So without thinking that it's an obligation, is there anything from this place of being relaxed, not automatically stressed? Is there anything that doesn't feel good? Is there anything that needs to change that you're not maybe saying or doing?
Just not feeling as rushed as, sometimes you can feel panicked.
Okay. And the fear is being late. Is that what the fear is about, being late?
Probably just trying to get everything done between feeding everybody, getting the homework done, getting the boys ready for football, and obviously trying to get out on time. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So here's your training for Wednesday. I'm going to give you one thing to do. You can open your eyes. How do you feel?
Yeah, a bit more relaxed than the tightness of worrying about everything going wrong.
Okay, excellent. So Wednesday, when you're driving to the childcare, did you say you go to childcare to pick up?
Yep, on the way home from work, yeah.
Okay, excellent. So when you go, your training will be, I want you to breathe and pay attention to relax your shoulders. To breathe, yep. and not the whole night, just have it on that drive. So you can write it down if you might forget. Because what I'm doing, and I'm going to I'll get you to write in the chat if you would be interested in me kind of holding the space to take you through your own, or you might feel like that was enough. But I know it will be a new way of considering and practicing, because the training that I'm done, I've developed my own approach, but I'm a Grimberg method practitioner. I was the first qualified Grimberg method practitioner in the UK, and there's not many of us in the world. But it's a very powerful way, because what we do is we shake an automatic reaction. And when something is automatic, like we go to the bathroom and we always brush our teeth with the right hand. You don't think about doing it with the other, it's automatic. So when something's automatic, it means that we've lost the awareness, the control. So what I did with Tony, and I'd just be interested, and maybe Tam, you can help me with the comments just to see if everyone kind of understood what I did and could practice. We kind of shook that automatic that you start to get stressed because this is the only way that it can be. And then we get curious. That's why I was asking you, be curious, like, is it like, do you need to drop something? Is it too much? But we don't have that opportunity when we just go into the stress, right? We don't have the chance to change something because we just went into stress. So Wednesday night, driving to childcare, your exercise will be to breathe. Pay attention to breathe and relax your shoulders, so you kind of shake and not to go into the stress. Okay. The main pain of stress is, well, there's a lot, but one, it does affect our children, by the way, because especially children are like sponges, and I've done a lot of working with adults and healing childhood trauma, because children contain the atmosphere that they're around. Naturally, they're like sponges. So if our children are around, anger all the time or around stress all the time, it's something for a child that they know is uncomfortable. I mean, it's uncomfortable for an adult, but we tend to have put up quite good, we're desensitized. Children are very sensitive. And so one reason, if you tend to be someone that's very stressed and anxious, I know I remind myself that our children do get affected. When a child stays in an environment that doesn't feel relaxing and comfortable, and it's for a long time, like children can maintain discomfort for a short time, but if it's long, they'll find ways to detach, like to not want to feel it. Okay, so that's one thing for our children. It's important that we learn to relax, but also it steals our joy. It's when we're stressed, we're so busy with ourself. We go into our own inner world. Yeah, we all know it. And then we lose that closeness with the people that we love. So Tam, I don't know what the overall verdict was. If you want me to take you through, I'm just going to keep an eye on the time because we've got, okay. Would that be useful? What was our verdict? Would you like me to take you through your own little practice? Or do you think you've got enough? Let's see what we've got. And I'll just have, Madeleine, do you want to share?
Yeah, I'll have a go.
So what I can do, I'll tell you what, I'll take you all together and you can follow my instructions. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, those of you that don't feel so much like doing this practical one, it will only be 5 minutes. So if you just want to listen and bear with me, but I think it's useful because what I want is that you've got at least one area, like if it's, you notice your belly gets really tight, and I'm pretty certain that you won't have probably considered this idea. And so I think I'm hoping that it will just give you a step. Whereas I said that you start to gain control of not being such a stress head, okay? Right, so sit back in your chair or wherever you are, on your bed, on your chair, and close your eyes, close your eyes. Okay, and close your eyes. Now, take one situation that you can feel really anxious in and you get stressed, and it might be that you shout at the kids, or that it's anxiety in your chest, or take one situation. It might be connected to work, it might be connected to having to talk to your ex, pick up kids. So take that, get clear, close your eyes. And I'm going to get you to deliberately think of that situation. Imagine that situation, like I did with Tony. Close your eyes. And tell me, well, not tell me, just get clear. What's the sentence in your head? Let's start with that. What are the sentences in your head around this situation? What are you telling yourself about the situation? It might be to do with money, that you're running out of money. So what's the sentences in your head? And then pay attention, everyone. What do you notice is happening in your shoulders and in your chest, in your breathing? And the reason I take you there is because as human beings, we're not that creative. Most people that feel stress, we tend to contract. Our breathing tends to get more limited. So just notice, what are you doing in your shoulders now and in your breathing? And what are you doing in your head? Are you squeezing your head? What's happening in your head, in your jaw, or in your eyes? Okay, now what I'd love you to do is go into it a little bit more, that feeling of the stress, the sentence. And also, I'll give you the other benefit of doing this is you're going to get clear of how much your body hates stress. You'll feel how uncomfortable it is when you don't breathe much. Probably don't notice it, but it's why we get very tired with stress. So hold whatever you're doing in your shoulders, and then notice, is there anything else? Like I could see with Tony that he was fidgeting, like fidgeting his fingers. So is there anything? Are you holding your belly? Is it something with your legs? Okay, and just for a few more seconds, keep it and do it a little bit stronger so that you learn this way of being when you're stressed. Notice the atmosphere, notice the mood that people around you have to deal with. Okay, and now everybody drop your shoulders. So relax your shoulders and breathe. The main instruction is to breathe. You can let go of your hands if you could feel tension in your hands. Bring a little movement, keep your eyes closed and breathe. Breathe to your belly and breathe to your chest. And breathe down to your feet and up to your head. So make the most important thing now breathing. And let go of the sentences that were in your head. And breathe to the front of your body and to the back of your body. So you want to take space. When we're in stress, we contract. There's very little space. There's very little space for joy. There's little space for new things. It's the same old, same old. So breathe and feel the space within you. So breathe to the top of your head, to the feet, to the left, to the right of the body, and to the front and the back. And then think of that situation again. And notice I didn't wave a magic wand and take your situation away. Sorry for that. But pay attention, relax, breathe, agree to whatever feelings there. Maybe there's anger, maybe there's fear, maybe there's pain. Not to avoid how you feel. Think of the situation. Relax. And just notice, is there something to say to someone? Is there something to do? Is there something to change? Or is it just that you can learn to not be stressed? And it's intense. The reality is it's intense. It's a lot. Okay, and one last thing. So think of that situation again, like I did with Tony. It was Wednesday night, and take part of the situation as I did for yourself. Yeah, so as an example, if you're getting stressed when you check your bank balance on a Friday, let's say, then what you could do is you would sit before you open the app. You would sit, you would breathe, you would relax your shoulders and breathe, and then do the thing. So whatever your situation is, take one either before, it might be before, say before your ex comes to the door, or before you're going to go somewhere. You would, if you're driving, you can be active in it. You can be driving and paying attention to relax your shoulders, or you can do it before, okay? Because someone asked me that question, so I'm going to explain that, okay? So just before you open your eyes, let me give you the clarity. Take one area. If you were really, if it was really outstanding, you were holding your belly, maybe take that. Or if it's easier to take my example where you're going to pay attention to your chest and drop your shoulders. If it was anything else, if you were really clenching your jaw, maybe you can take that. And you take one area and you're going to take a moment in that situation to breathe and to relax that area. Okay, and then everybody can open your eyes. What I'll do is I'll give you a moment, just write down for yourself so that you've got it as something you're committing to and that's practical. Write down the situation that you know you get stressed in a lot. what was the area? What were you doing? Maybe in your belly or with your neck or your shoulders. And then write down, what are you going to do in that situation next, when it arises next? It could be daily, it could be once a week. Okay. So somebody asked me when to do this training. So I'll just complete this by telling you, you can train it in the situation. So let's say that you get really stressed when you're meeting your ex, as the example. Then they don't need to know. Nobody needs to know you're doing your training. You're in front of collecting your kids, or you're in somewhere with your ex, or you know, meeting or whatever, and you might breathe to your belly, and you relax your belly, and you relax your shoulders, and you don't go into the stress or the anger or the usual reaction. You can do it in the situation, or you can practice it before. Okay, good. So Tam, is there any questions for me? And I'm going to be respectful of your time. So let me see if there's anything. Okay.
There's no questions that you haven't answered in the chat. I think people were kind of sharing their thoughts on the exercise you just took us through. So people talking about how tense their body got, how they could really feel the reaction from those thoughts, and kind of, I guess what you said, we don't necessarily take the time to think about the impact it has and kind of what it does. I know that I realized that my hands were clenched. It's only when you said, you know, like, notice what you're doing, and I realized I was sat there, and I thought I was sat quite normally, is, you know what I mean, quite like nothing was really, and I looked down and my hands were literally clenched, you know, together, wrapped around each other. So
amazing. Yeah. So I will come off this call really happy if, like Tam, if you got one little clue, because one of the hardest things to stop is our mind. Yeah. And so if we can pay attention to something else, we take our attention to relaxing our hands and breathe, and we don't follow the sentence in our mind, you've already stopped, you've gained control, which is what I started with. What I'll do is I'll just give you a few other things that have really helped me go from, like I said, like feeling in the gutters to feeling in a really, really good place. A couple more extra things, and then I'll leave some time if you've got any extra questions, okay? One thing I did was, and it's been an ongoing practice, is I've let go of resentment. And resentment often comes when we feel like it comes with boundaries, and when we're overgiving. We're in that overgiving place. And it's very easy to be in that overgiving place when you're a solo single parent, because you're giving a lot. And so being mindful that we don't get stuck with resentment, because resentment, so then we lean back and we just look at maybe where somebody isn't, you know, again, if it's a conversation with someone, it's a conversation with someone, but that we take responsibility, that we're doing less, that we're filling us up a bit more rather than emptying by the overgiving, because underneath it brings resentment, and to live in life with resentment is not healthy. Okay. And the other one, I've said relax and drop the pressure. So I'll give you a practical example of that. In my nature, by nature, is to be very competitive. In fact, I was at my 5-year-old sports day, and we did the parents relay, and I just remembered my competitive nature come out, because I was like shouting for Oliver and wanting to win the butterflies to win the parents race. So if you're like me, where you're kind of naturally like achieving, and you've got this they say A-type personality, don't they, where you just like to achieve things. What I've done, for example, with my business, is I have relaxed, and this is being 47, I'm 46 and a half, I'm running away with my years. But sometimes we forget that what helps me is when I go into that pressure of, you know, I'm just building online, so this is like third iteration of business, that I remind myself, okay, what, maybe another 20 years, relax, 20 years, doesn't matter, like whose pace are we going at? You know, who am I competing with? And whatever, you know, so then we can change our perspective with time. What is it that you're trying to achieve, and why does it need to be done now? Or can we give ourselves a little slack and relax? Of course, there are things that need taking care of urgently. So I'm not dismissing, you know, if you've got a health issue that needs urgency, or you've got no money, and there are things that need urgency, but I'm just giving you, I think for most of us, we can society is full of pressure, so naturally we take it. And the other thing that I really took responsibility for, and it's given me so much space in my life, is I took responsibility for my relationship with my ex, because for most of us, this man, woman are not going anywhere, God damn it. So we're stuck with them for a while, and there's a reason that you're not with them, and maybe you don't want them to be your best friend. So what I did was I swallowed my pride, and I found a lot of peace in being responsible, that I can't expect them, or you can't expect them, or I can't expect him to change, but I'm not going to react. I'm no longer available. Remember that sentence. I'm no longer available to have stress with this person in my life. And so I react a very different way. It goes over my head. I don't respond with confrontation. It's like, yeah. And it's a practice, it's a training, but if that can support you in trying to find peace and forgiveness, and I know that can be challenging, but it's one thing that's really, really helped me in the way that I don't react the same way, so if that can help too, if you can find a different way in finding more freedom for yourself, then I would wish that for you too. The final thing, okay, good, and please, resentment, the resentment, so I would just get curious, where are you overgiving? Where are you overgiving, and where can you give more to yourself?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I for that I was personally overgiving. But I have to quickly say, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I know you're not meant to compare your lives to people, but I'm the worst person from comparing lives. I'm thinking, I think I might have it a bit worse than them, or, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's another natural human thing. And comparison, there is a healthy thing, because if you imagine if we didn't look at anyone or anyone's lives, like, we do get inspired by people, and it's a good thing to be inspired by people, but then again it's coming back to doing it our way, that we're each unique beings with our own qualities, and there's a stress can come into that conversation when we're comparing, like you say, Erica. Yeah. The final thing, and it's something just to try on, that I mentioned this to Tam, and it was something that just kind of landed with me when I became a single mom. I never thought I would end up single mom. At one point I've been on universal credit. I mean, I never saw this coming, for me, as you probably didn't. One thing I would get you to consider is checking if you've taken on any of the stigma that goes with being a single parent, like what the perception is of you as a single parent, because remember what I started at the beginning, those thoughts or what you take on of how that state of being, that's going to also affect your reality. So if we think of the stigma and what a single parent looks like, or your image of a single parent, then that's likely what we become. Yeah. So when I was open myself to wanting to date again and find the man of my dreams, I realized that by telling myself that I'm a single parent, there's a limitation. You kind of there's a conclusion. So it's not taking away your reality. Like, I am a single parent, but it's I just wanted to share it with you at the end as a consideration, because in society, you know, there's an image and a stigma of what you look like as a single parent. And so if we can let that go and release it, and you find your own freedom, and you be the badass, wealthy, whatever rises above what you should look like as a single parent and how it should be as a single parent. Yeah, because our mind is very powerful, and the beliefs and the conclusions that we take on will create your reality. Okay.
How do you go about some of that releasing the stigma, though? Because one of the first things I always get asked, especially when talking about, you know, the fact that I'm a single parent, is you get the question, well, what did you do? What do you mean, what did I do? In terms of, you know, how did you end up being a single parent? It seems to be, say, you're sort of talking about stigma in terms of that, but how do you, obviously there is a projection in that in itself. How do you work through that?
Yeah, and again, it's
because there is the assumption, and I'm not trying to like sort of gender assign or anything else in that, in terms of being the man, that you're at fault, especially in that sort of situation. So I'm just, it's not meant in a confrontational way whatsoever. It's just how do you start working through that?
And let me give you an example that's more useful. So what you just described, and it will happen whether you're a woman or a man, the people will have judgments. People might say their opinion or their judgments. And again, it's coming back to our boundaries. Boundaries is a word that I keep coming back to on this call. So it's your boundaries that, you know, whatever you want to say to that person, but that you're not available for people's opinion. You're not available for what people think, because you know your situation and you deal with each, you know, because I don't know who said that to you, but because we've got a choice whether we take on and we lose our confidence, or do you see what I'm saying? So it's a judgment, but the point that I meant was that there is an energy, there's a vibe of what you think of when you think of single parenting, because it's you know, it's in the culture, it's in the climate. But it's a good point. It's a good point, Dan. But does that help? So
it does in part, in terms of actually then enforcing a boundary in response to that sort of situation, for sure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that obviously that doesn't chink. When I say the armor, that's
you know the truth, right?
Yeah, well, I do.
You know the truth, and so it's like it's a muscle that I'm getting you to train. You can hear like I've trained my boundaries, and with our anger is part of our boundaries, because it's like no, I'm not available for this. If you know, like that, because someone's opinion or judgment like that is very disrespectful, and it's our dignity as a human being. And yeah, so like my kind of energy that I bring back is like no, and it depends who and it depends which situation, but as you said, it's a good point. It's just strengthening that you don't absorb it. You might not want to have a confrontation with someone, but as I said, I've learned with my ex that it goes over my head. I don't get angry with him. It just doesn't touch me anymore because I don't allow it to. And I get it. I mean, it's a good question. All I can say is take on the intention, and it's a training, and you'll get better at it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I can interject slightly. You said about a stigma. I've recently gone up against this, so I can relate to the bits with your ex and things, but 8 years, and I don't know whether it's me putting in a boundary or I'm just so used to it that I just don't react like I used to. It used to be a hair trigger, but now it's just I take the approach of ignorance is bliss. He does his thing, I do my thing. We are separate. The only times we need to come together is for our son, and even then that's minimal. He doesn't really do any of that stuff, so it is on me. So in a way there was freedom in gaining all that responsibility, in a way, even though I don't have the legal full responsibility that I should to back up exactly everything I do. But recently I had a relationship end, and I felt this heavy weight of not being good enough because I wasn't working yet. I'm still trying to finish my master's, and I live in a council flat, so I am on universal credit. But I felt that stigmatism applied to me, like I wasn't a good enough partner, that I had no potential, because as it stood, I'm in a council flat, I am on universal credit. Yeah, okay, I'm trying to finish my master's, but I haven't got it yet. Because I haven't got a job, I'm not worthy in society. So I am one of those trashy single mums. And I find, and that's really damaged my confidence and damaged me in a way that's irreparable, it feels. And it puts me off trying to date again, because I think everyone's going to see that I'm completely worthless, because this person I thought had all this worth and saw me as an equal actually saw me as nothing, and all his family saw me as nothing because I didn't have these material things.
So what I'll do, and I'll answer Madeleine, and then I'm just mindful of the time. So I think Tam will put in the chat kind of, if you are wanting, to know more work that I do, if you're curious about one-to-one support, or there's something particular, because it's quite challenging for me to answer very specific, where it's more deeper, might be deeper healing or deeper work. But I would say, in answer to your question, it keeps coming back again a little bit to this theme of, and again, I'm sharing my own journey, where there's moments when we allow the pain and the sadness, that there will be moments when we feel shame, and we feel, like you were saying, not good enough. How did we get here? Like it's natural. It's natural as a human being. And the training comes, and I think you're going to hear this message because I'm bringing it through. The training comes back because it's personal responsibility. The only way our lives change, nobody came to save me when I was in a shitty terrace house up north, run away from my ex, which was a bad move in itself, but nobody came to save me. And it's the personal responsibility. There's absolute power in those moments of allowing yourself to feel pain, allowing yourself to feel the sadness. And I really like, there's moments, maybe days, when we feel down, but the trick is not to stay there. And the way that we don't stay there is we build our will for the life that we want. We keep holding on to through the hope for our children, for ourself. And just to add, Madeleine, the piece there, which we all need to train, which is that we get to a place where we don't care what people think, because when we care what people think, it's a downward spiral. And everybody's, everyone's going to have opinions, judgments, especially if people have known you. And again, I know it comes with training. It is a training, but if I can just again put it out, that the main thing is that the truth of your journey. And guess what? Anyone that wants to have their opinion and their judgment of single parents, it can be so perception. Like, I can share with you, in the line that I work with uber wealthy people. I teach yoga in a tennis club. And so there's such judgment they also have horrendous challenges. It's not, so people's, you know, looking at somebody's life as a single parent, and this is worse than someone's life who is a millionaire, but they're empty and they're an alcoholic. It's, you know, we, as a human being, we all have our challenges. And I think sometimes we can look at this kind of person who's got an easier ride, or they're, you know, they're holier, or they're more worthy, or, and it's our personal journey that we're walking. And it just so happens that part of everyone on this call, you know, we've got this journey that we happen to arrive as single parents at the moment, and hopefully not forever if we don't want it to be forever. And in that journey, there's blessings and there's gifts. And whenever there's a challenge, there's chance for transformation. Through the challenge, there's a chance for change. So I would say, does that help, Madeleine? That we get less caring what people think. We know our truth, and we keep anchoring on to what it is that you don't want to be in that council house, or you don't want to be in that situation forever.
No, definitely not. It's been long standing because of it's just been a wash of things that have happened in quick succession. So every time I'm almost out the gate, every time I'm almost there, something just takes me down again, and I don't have that family backup. I don't have that support. I'm finding it here in Frolo, and that's has literally been life-saving, because I have been incredibly low and unwell. And obviously you have to be around for your child, you can't not, but sometimes things just keep coming and coming and coming, and you just can't anymore. And yeah, but it does help. Sorry, I'm frantically writing down what you're saying, little snippets.
Yeah.
Because I said I'd show Elle because she had to go, but yes, it does help. I think what you're saying is, don't let it define you, don't let it defeat you. It's one person's opinion, it's not the sum total of your existence.
Yes, and also let me share this as a final note, that when we're in those places that we hate, when we're in the places that, like, I can share, like, I felt like I'd reached the rock bottom of my life, it's a useful, our emotions are our emotive is to move. So the more that, I mean, this is a session in itself, but the more that you learn to give space to your emotions, not to get lost in them, not to get carried away in them, but pain, the other coin of pain is love. So if you're able to feel the pain of your situation, you can feel, what is it that you want? What is it that you are longing for? What is it that you're desiring? If we don't feel pain, then we don't know what we love. We can't have love without pain, because everything we love risks losing it. So, and hate is another one. Like, hate is given a bad rap, but to have your anger and your hate, that you hate a situation and it can move you out of it. It's another very powerful emotion that, yeah. Okay. All right. I know we've gone over time.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you everybody for sharing and being so open. And, you know, whether that's because you've spoken on the call, whether that's you typed in the box, it's been really lovely to hear so much from all of you and kind of your experiences and your views. It really has. So thank you. Rachel, thank you so much for tonight's session. I really enjoyed it, and I can tell by looking at the chat and looking at people how much it meant to other people as well. The recording, I'll make sure it's shared tomorrow, because I know this is one that people are definitely going to want to watch back. And I will put all of Rachel's details on a post on the feed tomorrow, so you can find her, get hold of her. Please do, you know, reach out.
Oh, you're all welcome. Yeah. So remember, you're not available for the lack. Gratitude and excitement for what you want, and allow yourself to want things, good things. Okay? A pleasure.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you all soon, I'm sure.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
You're all welcome. Bye-bye.